Okay, so we're going to solve and graph today inequalities. And some of them might have a solution. Some of them might not have any solution. Some of them might have infinite. Okay, so let's start. This is a very large inequality. Now, one thing that I first want you to notice, because I'm finding this on some people's, is that the inequality is way over here. All right, so that means that the left side has a lot of stuff on it that can be combined probably, and work needs to be done. All right, so to begin this first solving, what should we do first? Anna, go ahead. Yes, so we're going to start with -6 times 1, which gives us -6. And then -6 times positive 7x gives us -42x. And now, do we have to also distribute the 7? Yeah, let's do that. So positive 7 times 1 is positive 7. And positive 7 times 6x is positive 42x. And now we can write down less than or equal to -2. Okay, now, this is why I pointed this out. This whole left side, now, do I cancel like terms or do I add like terms? Yeah, you put them together. So something that's happening is people are trying to cancel like terms. When they're on the same side, we have to put them together. All right. So -42x gets added to positive 42x. So what do we get? 0x. So I'm going to leave it as 0x right now. Okay. How about -6 and positive 7? Do I add like terms or cancel out? Add. Okay. So now I have -6 plus 7. What do I get? Positive 1. So I'm going to put it down as plus 1. And then now I have is less than or equal to -2. Right? So now there are two ways I can really look at this. I can either solve it like I would normally, right? Or I can take out the 0x. So I'm going to solve it. All right? So if I were to solve this, what would I do first? What would I do, Carla? I would subtract 1. Good. -1. That cancels. And I'd -1 over here. That gives me 0x is less than or equal to -3. Okay, now this is the spot where you have to use your logic, okay? So 0 times, don't think about -3 right now. Think about 0 times anything. It's going to give you 0, isn't it? Okay, so this is now saying 0 is less than or equal to -3. And so your brain has to go, is that right or is that not right?
Not right.
Not right. So if it's not right and it's never going to be right, what's our answer? Okay? So our answer is no solution. Okay? So there is no solution here. Now, here's the thing that we did not do yesterday. Okay? It says and graph. Okay. So if I do this graph, and I put on there, right, I got 0x is less than or equal to -3. So I'm going to put my -3 in here, right? And if I'm looking at this, right, remember that 0 is over here. So this is -2, -1, -4. Okay. If there's no solution, can you graph it? That's the graph. There's not a graph. There's no solution to it. But the graph, and the reason I'm showing you this, right, is if you have a multiple choice and you're taking, let's say, SAT, the graph will show a graph to pick, but there will be no solution. There will be no graph on it. Okay? All right, let's go to number 2. Let's do the next one. All right, so number 2 is significantly shorter, which we're like, okay, cool. Significantly shorter means less work. All right, here we go. It might help some of us to put 1s in front of our x's. Here we go. Boop, boop. After I've done that, though, what's our next move? Go ahead. The what one? That's right. Okay, so 7 times 1x is 7x. And 7 times negative 4 gives me negative 28. And now we're going to bring down our inequality, and we're going to bring down our 28 minus 1x over here. Okay, so now we're looking at it. The inequality is smack dab in the middle, which works really well with most of our brains. So am I going to add like terms, or am I going to cancel something? We're going to cancel, okay? I want to keep my variable on the left because I know it's inequalities and it will help me later. So I'm going to cancel the 7x, minus 7x, and I'm going to minus 7x on this side. All right, so what is negative 1x minus 7x? Negative 8, all right? So we're going to bring that down, bring down 28, bring down my inequality, and now over here I have negative 28 right here. Okay, what's going to be my next move in this case? Ivan, what do I do? I add 28 here, or do I want to subtract 28 here? There you go, okay? If I add 28 here, it's not going to help me out, right? I want everything to be the opposite side. So I'm going to subtract 28 here and subtract it here. Now, here's a common mistake. Students bring down negative 8x, and they bring down is greater than or equal to, and then they tell me this is 0. What is that?
Negative 6.
There we go. Good. All right, what's our last step?
Divide by negative 8.
Okay, and if I divide by negative 8, what happens to my inequality? It's flipping, okay? So x is less than or equal to what now?
7.
Positive 7, yes. A negative divided by a negative gives me positive. Now this one, to graph it, we don't graph the original inequality. We don't graph it till we get the answer. So here's 7, all right, 8, 9. All right, open or closed circle? Closed. And what direction does the inequality point? And so the reason, this brings me back to the reason over here that I chose to cancel the 7x, because then it got my variable on the left, which means that it should point in the same direction as the inequality points, right? It helps me out. All right, last one then. So far, are we understanding? Okay, good. Here's the last one. All right, again, my inequality is hiding, but it's in the middle again. And we're going to start with distributing. So let's do that. Negative 2 times positive 5 is negative 10. Negative 2 times positive 6x is going to give me negative 12x. Now, I want to write down as few symbols as possible. So instead of writing negative 12, I make that a minus 12x. It makes it easier to know what to do when I start canceling. I understand that plus negative is the same as minus, but we want to write down as few symbols as we can get away with so that when we're canceling, it makes it easier to know what to do. All right, is less than now. 6 times 8 is positive 48, and 6 times negative 2x is again, yep, and we're going to write it down as minus 12x. Okay. Am I going to add like terms or cancel?
Cancel.
Okay, so I'm going to cancel minus 12x here by adding it. And if I add it over here, it's 0. So I get negative 10. And it doesn't matter if I put plus 0x or minus 0x. It doesn't matter because we have 0, right? Is less than 48. Okay? Now I'm going to keep going. So what do I do next? What do I do? Nope, wait, these two have already answered. Go ahead. Add 10. Great. Okay, so now I have 0x is less than 58. Now again, logic. So 0 times anything is what? 0. Is that always or never going to be less than 58? Always. So what's my answer? All real numbers or infinite solutions, right? So all real numbers. And so the question is, how do I graph that? And this is the answer to that. So it does not matter where you do start your answer here. And because there's a 58, I'm going to use 58, okay? Because we have all real numbers, this is what we do. There's not really a number that we have to put a circle around. What we do is the graph is going to encompass the entire graph, and it's going to encompass everything on that graph. It's all real numbers. The line extends in both directions, going both ways, and that's our answer to our graph. All real numbers looks like that.